Imagine walking into what seems to be a perfectly ordinary apartment, only to discover it filled with life-sized dolls. At first glance, they appear to be nothing more than quirky art projects, dressed in feminine clothing, their faces painted with garish makeup, and buttons crudely sewn where their eyes should be. But as you step closer, a chill runs down your spine. Something feels wrong. The dolls emit strange, unsettling noises when touched, and some even have hollow, gaping holes beneath their eyes. What you're looking at isn't just art. It's something far more sinister, something that defies comprehension. Today, we're diving into the chilling and twisted tale of Anatoly Moskvin, a man whose dark obsession with death and the occult led him to commit one of the most horrifying crimes in modern history. This is a story steeped in black magic, mummified remains, and a man who truly believed he could cheat death itself. A man who thought he could bring the dead back to life. On November 2nd, 2011, Russian police arrived at the home of Anatoly Moskvin, a writer and former university lecturer in the city of Nizhny Novgorod. They weren't there for a routine check. Moskvin had been under surveillance for months, suspected of potential extremist activities. Authorities believed he might be involved in radical ideologies, possibly targeting the Muslim population. When they entered his apartment, they expected to find evidence of extremist literature or plans for an attack. But what they uncovered was far more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. Scattered throughout the small, cluttered apartment were 29 life-sized dolls. At first glance, they appeared to be the work of an eccentric artist, each one meticulously crafted from papier-mâché and dressed in women's clothing. Some wore brightly colored dresses, while others were adorned in tattered, second-hand outfits. Their faces were painted with garish makeup, and buttons were sewn into their eye sockets, giving them an eerie, almost lifelike appearance. But as the officers inspected the dolls more closely, they began to notice unsettling details. When they moved the dolls, they emitted strange, tinny sounds. Upon further examination, they discovered that several of the dolls had music boxes hidden inside their chests, which played mournful, childlike tunes when disturbed. Even more disturbing were the small holes beneath the eyes of some dolls, as if they were designed to watch. The truth, however, was far more horrifying. These weren't just dolls. Inside each one were the mummified remains of young girls. Anatoly Moskvin had been stealing bodies from local cemeteries for nearly a decade, preserving them through a crude mummification process and encasing them in homemade doll shells. He referred to them as his children, treating them as if they were still alive. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and the world. How had this gone unnoticed for so long? How could someone live among such macabre creations without raising suspicion? And perhaps most chilling of all, what drove Anatoly Moskvin to commit such unspeakable acts? To understand how Anatoly Moskvin became the puppeteer, we need to go back to his childhood. Born on September 1st, 1966, in the Soviet Union, Anatoly grew up during a time of economic hardship and social unrest. He was an exceptionally intelligent child, but struggled to connect with others, often retreating into books and his own imagination. His life took a dark turn at the age of 13, when he stumbled upon a bizarre and terrifying ritual. While collecting recyclables for a school project, Anatoly wandered into a remote yard where a funeral was taking place. A group of adults, dressed in black cloaks, stood around an open coffin containing the body of an 11-year-old girl named Natasha Petrova. Terrified, Anatoly tried to flee, but the adults grabbed him and forced him to kiss the girl's cold, lifeless forehead. They then performed a mock wedding ceremony, placing rings on his and Natasha's fingers and declaring them married. Afterward, they gave him a basket of fruit and some money, warning him not to tell anyone about the incident for 40 days. This traumatic event left a lasting mark on Anatoly. Soon after, Natasha began appearing in his dreams, offering to teach him the secrets of black magic. Though he resisted at first, her spectral presence haunted him, fueling his growing fascination with death and the occult. This obsession would eventually consume him, setting him on the path to becoming the puppeteer. As Anatoly grew older, his obsession with death deepened. He studied Celtic history and the occult at the University of Moscow, where he joined a group of Luciferians and took a vow of celibacy. He believed that through magic and science, he could conquer death itself. After leaving academia, Anatoly began documenting local cemeteries, visiting over 750 of them in just 3 years. He became an expert on burial practices and local history, but his behavior grew increasingly erratic. He started sleeping on the graves of young girls, claiming their spirits visited him in his dreams. In 2003, Anatoly's life took another dark turn. He and his partner decided to adopt a child, but their application was denied due to his unstable financial situation. This rejection seemed to push Anatoly over the edge. He began digging up the bodies of young girls, mummifying them, and turning them into life-size dolls. He believed that by preserving their bodies, he could one day bring them back to life. For nearly a decade, Anatoly Moskvin's apartment transformed into a macabre workshop, a chilling blend of a child's playroom and a mortician's laboratory. The once ordinary living space was now filled with 29 life-size dolls, each one hiding a horrifying secret. Anatoly didn't see these creations as mere objects. He treated them as his children. He gave them names, celebrated their birthdays, and even played cartoons for them, drilling small holes into their masks so they could see the TV. The dolls were dressed in a bizarre mix of clothing. Some wore dresses and skirts Anatoly had scavenged from trash bins or second-hand stores, while others were clothed in the very garments they had been buried in. He applied makeup to their faces, carefully painting lips, cheeks, and eyelids to give them a lifelike appearance. Buttons were sewn into their eye sockets, and some dolls even had faces made from the remains of stuffed animals, creating a grotesque fusion of toy and corpse. Anatoly's parents, though aware of his strange behavior, dismissed it as another one of his eccentric hobbies. They lived with the smell of decay permeating their home, a stench so overpowering that neighbors often complained. Yet they attributed it to drainage issues or other mundane explanations. Anatoly's mother occasionally found him talking to the dolls, scolding him for what she saw as childish behavior. But Anatoly's dark secret couldn't stay hidden forever. In 2011, his crimes finally caught up with him. After being caught desecrating graves in a Muslim cemetery, police raided his home and uncovered his horrifying collection. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and the world, exposing the chilling reality of Anatoly Moskvin's double life. Anatoly Moskvin was diagnosed with schizophrenia and deemed unfit to stand trial. He was sent to a psychiatric clinic, where he remains to this day, heavily medicated and evaluated every 6 months. The parents of the stolen children were understandably devastated, with some refusing compensation, claiming Anatoly had treated their daughters better in death than they had in life. This story raises difficult questions about mental illness, morality, and justice. Was Anatoly a monster or a victim of his own mind? Should he ever be released, or does he deserve to spend the rest of his life in confinement? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious. But maybe keep the lights on tonight. I'll see you in the next video.